What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out this episode of Raised Geeks, the first of 2023. We're so excited to be here and to talk about today's topic because this week we're discussing the first episode of HBO's The Last of Us. So let's get into it. I'm Chris, and as always, I'm here with my buddy Don. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today? My friend. Almost forgot my tagline because it's been a minute.
Been a minute.
I am
Holidays.
well. I am well, minus the little Zoom problems we were having here that took 30 minutes before we were able to get this going. But hey, we got through it, and here we are.
Luckily, we decided to record earlier than normal, so we had this time before Monday Night Football hits, and we got to watch the last of the playoffs game and see how the first round of the wild card weekend comes to an end. This was a crazy weekend for football, but that's not what we're talking about.
Not necessarily. It's on our brains as well as other things, but yes. We made it in time before Monday night, so we're gonna get all our thoughts in here on this show.
On this, The Last of Us. So now I know we've talked about The Last of Us quite a bit on this podcast over and over and over again. Clearly, we're big fans of The Last of Us, so we've been super excited for this date. I was literally all week just waiting for the premiere of The Last of Us. Sunday, I was baby stepping to 8:00. I kept saying it, baby steps to 8:00. I wanted that show to be there, and then I got to watch it.
It arrived. It finally arrived.
And all my dreams came true in the most depressing manner.
It's weird. Like they announced this adaptation, like feels like forever ago. And it's just one of those things where it felt like an idea. It's like, oh, that's great. They're doing it. But somewhere in my mind, there was just this doubt, like, nah, they're never going to do that. That just seems like something that we want to talk about and it's in the works and it's going to be done. You know, like there was a movie that Sam Raimi was attached to years ago with Neil Druckmann, and the studio wanted it to be like World War Z, but they were trying to go for more of like a old No Country for Old Men thing, I think, is what was reported. And it's like, it kind of seemed like one of those things that was always going to be in some kind of development, but never come out.
Yep.
And man, just somehow over the past year or something, after it's been announced, they went in and actually made this show. It actually exists for a game that came out, almost 10 years ago, or just about 2013, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It's crazy that it exists, and it being like one of our favorite franchises, even with just the 2 games and like the one little, so like 2.5 games, but even with just that, it's one of our favorite franchises. So to have this show exist is kind of a little surreal and awesome. And like, I'm glad the day arrived. Like I didn't think it ever would. I don't know.
Well, and it exists in this form, the current form that we got that is being praised. All the first season reviews are out, and it was for the longest time 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I mean, so far it's kind of been universally praised for the majority. I know I've seen some mixed things with the public now that we're getting public reception, and people are going to hate. And then you have other people that are like, zombies. I don't want to watch zombies. I'm like, why not zombies? But I can see the connection. Sure. But then it's crazy because like last year we had like Halo, which was also in developmental hell. And it was another show that I was watching. I watched the first episode and I was like, I can't believe I'm watching a Halo TV show. And then the first episode ended and I was like, what the hell was that? Like,
why does that exist?
Why does this exist in this form? Like you had 20 years worth of Halo video games and lore, and that's what you give us. So the fact that this not only exists, but was given the opportunity to exist in kind of almost its purest form, so far at least, is kind of just like you said, it's mind-boggling. I'm sitting there watching this thing just going, I can't believe I'm watching this. I can't believe I'm watching this.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it a little more probably later in this conversation, but like you just said, video game adaptations don't get this kind of respect. And like they don't go to HBO, they go to Netflix, or they go to just like quick in and out of theaters, goofy video game adaptation. You know what I mean? Yeah. This one just seems like it's being taken seriously, and you can tell from all the promotion dollars that HBO and Warner Brothers are putting behind it. They're really hoping that this is like their next big big show that can stand next to stuff of theirs, like, Game of Thrones and all those type shows. So it's pretty crazy that it's something that we love as a video game that is getting this much respect. And like, I don't know. I'm very happy about it, I guess.
Extremely, extremely happy about it. Now we're going to dive into The Last of Us premiere. As we've said and just kind of said, we're big fans of the series. We obviously know everything that's about to happen and that's going to go down. We do not plan on talking about anything that falls out of the confines of this episode of TV. So don't worry about spoilers for the game or future spoilers. We're not going to go and be like, well, at the end, we're not those types of people. We're not
jerks. We're not jerks.
We don't plan on doing that. I've seen people on Twitter already doing that, which is annoying. Don't want to be, how did you describe it before we came on the air?
What did I say?
Game of Thrones people.
Oh, right. Yeah. Like, we want this to be treated as the same way we watch Game of Thrones and not reading the source material. And then, of course, during that show, you had all your little smart asses who were like, well, I read the books and, oh, you guys are in for it. I can't wait for you to see this. Like, I don't even want to go there. Tell people like, wait till you see what's going to happen. No, like, that's not cool. I want people to enjoy this who've played the game like us, but also people who've maybe never even heard of The Last of Us before this show. You know what I mean? They should be able to experience it. And it's also not to say we may not necessarily know everything that's going to happen in this show, because stuff like this always takes its own liberties, which I expect them to. So yeah, we're gonna keep it real light and breezy here with the predictions and spoilies. We're just going to talk about each episode confined to itself, like you said.
Yes, we are. But there will be spoilers for the first episode of HBO's The Last of Us. So definitely check it out first, unless you just want us to talk about it and spoil it for you, which we're more than happy to do because we're about to do it. So you've been warned.
This is your warning. Get out now. Go watch it like everybody else has. And come join us.
Now, have they, I haven't seen yet. Have they given out like viewer numbers yet or anything?
No, I don't think I saw any of that. Granted, I was at work all day today, as were you. So we haven't had much of a chance to look, but, I don't think I've seen anything like that. Like we were talking about, mostly just very positive, talk and conversation around it.
Yeah.
But nothing about viewer numbers yet.
Just curious. I know, like with House of the Dragon, they were very
proud of how many people watched the first one.
To talk about that, and Lord of the Rings, they were doing that. So I was curious of.
Well, one thing I'm hoping doesn't hurt the show, and this is like going off topic, is that they're launching it, like premiering it on wild card weekend of the NFL. And like, America loves them some football, but it is going for like a different not to say fan base, but maybe a different person. And with HBO Max, now you can kind of watch things at your own leisure. You no longer have to sit and wait till 8 p.m. and turn on HBO to see this. So
we still had to wait till 8 p.m. and wait for HBO Max we still had to at least wait for it.
Right. But what I'm saying is now you can just, when football's over, you can flip on your HBO Max app and have it on.
Yeah, I could start it at 8:30. At halftime, I was like, all right, let's switch over.
Exactly. So we'll see what those ratings look like. I got to assume it probably did pretty well.
I mean, from the chatter, it seems to be doing pretty well. But just curious, as we were coming in here Monday, if any of that information. Sometimes you'll see a tweet.
Yeah, I haven't
discussing film likes to talk about viewers and box office. Shout out discussing film. I blocked part of them because they wouldn't stop talking about Avatar, and I got so tired of it, I blocked the word Avatar on Twitter. I was like, I don't care about how much money Avatar 2 is making.
No.
But I got tired of seeing it because I was seeing it constantly.
Somebody had a tweet that said, we're sitting here talking about Twitter. Somebody had a tweet that was like, all I keep seeing is like Avatar has made like $1 billion, but how come I don't know anybody in real life who's seen it? Is that? Yeah. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, that's kind of true. I don't know anybody who's seen it, but somehow, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. I've known a couple people who have, but I haven't heard anything about it except for it's gorgeous. Well, I don't care about that. And the story's
Everything's
fine.
gorgeous.
And I'm just like, okay, that's what the first one was. And it's lived barely in my head for the past decade. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Avatar. We'll talk about that when it premieres on Disney Plus. And do that. We're here to talk about The Last of Us. So let's get into this. So just overall, Don, what do you think of last night's episode, the premiere episode of Last of Us? Everything you wanted it to be, or do you hate it?
Well,
sir,
I hated it. No, that's an old joke I've used a few times. No, man, I loved it. It was great. Kind of everything that I thought a Last of Us show would be. You know, those familiar with the game know it's a post-apocalyptic tale of survival, and Joel and Ellie and all that, their adventure together through this wasteland, and they took that straight out of the game and put it right up there on my screen with stunning results. I mean, I honestly could not have imagined it going better, that premiere. It was very faithful to the game, but at the same time kind of doing its own thing, little things here and there, little tweaks and changes. But like when something's good, don't mess with it. If something ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think that's kind of the mindset they went in with. Neil Druckmann is like the showrunner on this. He's also the mind behind those games. So, I mean, of course, it's going to be what he wants it to be. And this is his vision that he had for the games. And now he's just transferring it to the screen with actors and big sets and, you know, beautiful set design and beautiful music. And like, dude, it's just.
When the opportunity to just tie it in, like to tell more of the story, you know, with video games, obviously you're limited to kind of the character that you're portraying. There's a lot more detail, a lot more you can tie into. Even this opening with Sarah, you were able to go into more of that than you really could in the game. You know, the game, obviously you get the same feeling across and it still worked just as devastatingly as it did on the show, but you're almost able to do more with TV. And especially, like I said, this isn't a movie that they're trying to do this whole thing in 22 hours. It's a 9 hour plus 9 to 10 hour saga that they're able to tell this first game worth of stories. So there's a lot in there that they could really tie into and almost make things way worse than it was in the game.
Yeah, honestly, like no full disclosure, the opening scene of the game, I mean, everyone who's played the game and now you've seen it on the show, so it's not spoiling anything, you know that Joel's daughter dies. And that is what makes him into who he is throughout the entire journey, and like his big, huge moment that changed his life forever. In the game, that literally takes maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the opening of the game before you see the title sequence.
Yeah.
So in this show, like you said, they're expanding on it, making you care about the family a little more, letting you get to know his daughter, Sarah, who was played beautifully by that actress, I think. That young girl played her really well.
That was Sarah Miller. That's what's her face's daughter from Westworld. Oh, blanking. I blanked. Thaddy Newman.
Her name is Nico Parker, that actress.
Oh, Sarah Miller is the character name. So
Sarah Miller is the character. Nico Parker. That's Thandie Newton's daughter.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yep, and I saw a picture of them side by side, and now I can't unsee it.
Okay,
she looks exactly like her.
Yeah, now that you say, I was like, oh yeah, that is mother and daughter. But she played the part really well.
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. Before we get into like portrayals and all the good things, I loved it. What did you think?
Yeah, they was really. I mean, they would have had to really screw this up. From everything that I've seen, I was so hyped up. I mean, it would have had to be a complete dumpster fire for me to not like this and appreciate it. Like I said, I've played through, this is one of the only video games I've played through multiple times to get this story. I've just lived and breathed through this story, and it has a lot of ties to I just really enjoy it. It's just a really solid, heartbreaking, beautiful story, and the idea of being able to see it in a different medium is awesome. And yeah, they would have had to really do some craziness. It has been a minute since I've played it because I played through the first one before The Last of Us 2 came out, which that came out in 2020.
A couple years ago, yeah.
It's been a couple years since I played it, so I'm not fresh on the details. There were little things that I'm sure you're fresher on because you just kind of restarted the beginning playing it, the new version. I haven't picked up The Last of Us Part 1 yet to try it for the third time on a third system.
Yeah. Side note, I thought it was brilliant from like Naughty Dog to their official Twitter account. I don't know if you saw it last night, like after the show and off the air, they tweeted like, "Hey, thanks everyone for checking out The Last of Us on HBO. Like, if you loved it, you can pick up our game that's on PlayStation 5 now and play along with the show like as it's going." I was like, it's actually brilliant marketing because people probably will do that.
Well, that's the reason Last of Us Part 1 exists. That version of the game exists for people who today are like, what was that? I need to play this game now.
Correct.
And it was something for them to go grab and do and to have it. So,
yeah, because this is the third iteration of that game. It was on PlayStation 3. PlayStation 4 was the remaster, and now PlayStation 5 is like the
remaster
of the remaster.
Yes.
But totally worth playing.
Now,
but anyway,
I was about to say, as a quick sidebar, because we haven't really had a chance to talk about it. The changes in that for the PS5, that worth it?
Hard to say because I got the game for free as a Christmas gift. Thank you to my wife. But yeah, it is. I mean, it looks like a PlayStation 5 game.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got done playing God of War and Horizon, and those are beautiful games. Like, this is on par with those looks wise.
That's all I need to hear.
Okay.
If it plays and looks like Last of Us Part 2, I'm cool.
Yeah, it does. It's made for a new gen system and it looks great. So
I like it. I like it. So
totally.
HBO, Last of Us.
We both loved it.
Both loved it. There was no it just flew by. I had a good time. I'm glad to know, they obviously opened the show the first 30 minutes, getting to know Sarah, getting to know Joel, getting to know Tommy that little bit, and then breaking your heart in almost the exact same fashion. I mean, realistically, the first 30 minutes outside of a couple extra scenes with Sarah was pretty much like beat for beat.
Mm-hmm. It was a 1-for-1, basically.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, I was getting chills when they were in the backseat of that truck. I'm like, this is the game. Like, this is, I'm just watching the game play out, except for I'm not moving the camera when I look around as Sarah.
Yeah, yeah. It was pretty much
a little bit more controlled than when I move around the camera. I'm like,
it was pretty much the same point of view.
Yeah.
The characters even said some of the same lines in the game. They did do their little tweaks here and there, but I think the tweaks they did were for the better. Like in the show or in the game, when they crash the car, it's like a truck running into them,
which they tease.
But then in the show, it's like because a fucking plane falls out of the sky.
Yeah,
I was like, that was insane. I was having anxiety during that scene. It was like it's just very tense, and you could tell, Neil Druckmann kind of wanted to do that, and his partner, the guy who behind Chernobyl, just both of them working together, like, man, they recreated it like to a T perfectly, and my heart was racing, even though I was like, I know what's gonna happen. I've seen this before. I've played this.
That kind of makes it worse.
Yeah, but it's still like giving me heart palpitations.
Yeah, they were showing off that HBO money that they got. Let's crash a plane. Let's just not get, in the game we had limitations and we decided to just crash a truck and do a T-bone. No, we're on HBO now. Let's crash a plane.
We're crashing a plane.
Yeah. Which was insane.
It was. As heartbreaking as that scene was, as a video game, what kind of feels did it make you feel watching it acted out? And you knew Sarah a little bit more in the show than you did in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you what were you feeling, man? What were the feelings like? What was your reaction?
I mean, it was very similar. Like I said, I was preparing myself because I've seen it happen a couple times now playing through this game. It's definitely rough. It was a little bit rougher, but then I kind of rewatched a cutscene of it. I'm like, man, they really almost 1-to-1 to that damn thing. So it was like, I still feel it kind of the same way. It just was, I was a little walled off because I knew it was coming, and I was more of just like thinking about the people who don't know or weren't experiencing it, and that devastation that was hitting. It was basically the level of devastation that I've had for 10 years to that moment.
Finally got shared.
Finally is now shared with the world, and I feel okay that now when I say, man, when Sarah died, and everyone could be like, I know, and I've been sitting there for like 10 years sitting on that. My boss, like I bring up The Last of Us, and he's like, I only played the first 15 minutes, and when they killed that girl, I stopped playing the game. And there's a lot of people who did that because that opening was so intense, and there's probably a lot of people who said, screw this to the show after that opening. I loved Sarah 30 minutes, and you loved this character, which is awesome. But I can guarantee you there's probably a bunch of people that are like, nope, I'm out.
Well, it's true. And I mean, if you don't know what the show is and what's going to happen, just based on those 30 minutes, you would think this could be just an adventure of Joel and Sarah, like trying to survive. Him and his daughter got away, and somehow they have to, this Last of Us could have easily been just him and his daughter trying to survive.
Yeah.
But they kill his daughter. She's dead. And it's unexpected and heartbreaking. It's always hard. Also, just like killing children characters in anything is always rough because that's a rough subject, and people, makes people uncomfortable, rightfully so. It's really bad.
Not cool.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't shy away from that stuff. They didn't in the game, and they didn't here, and it's it's for a reason. It's to like build. It makes Joel who he is for the rest of his adventure.
When we were watching it, my wife was saying, because she knows nothing except for that she's been listening to me for 10 years talk about this story, and now she gets to experience it in whatever HBO presents. But she was even saying, I hate when they do post-apocalyptic like before the fall, because she was like, I don't know what's about to happen, and I don't know, they're introducing all these characters, and I don't know who's going to make it, and I don't know, like, is he going to get separated from his daughter? Is she going to die? And this was before, this was kind of roughly 10 minutes in or somewhere in there where there was like a lull in that. And we were kind of talking, and it was just one of those things that I'm just sitting there tight-lipped, like, yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, so it was kind of fun for me to just be able to experience what is happening, and is this as big of a moment as it always felt for me playing the game. And it's just a reason why I play video games, looking for moments and stories like that. And like I said, to be able to watch this come out into the mainstream is just awesome. Sad and devastating, but awesome.
How creepy was the scene and this was a bonus for us because something like this was not in any game. The scene where, I mean, we got to meet Sarah and learn more about her than we ever did in the video game. Her at the neighbor's house. Yeah, with the old lady in the background who was like
out of focus and freaking out,
comatose, and then they finally you could tell now this fungus disease, pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, thing had obviously taken hold of her a little bit, and her like contortions in the blurred out background. I was like, oh shit, this is a horror show now too, huh? Like, I knew it was gonna be scary and jumpy and zombies and stuff, but like, oh, we're doing fucking some horror now.
Yeah, that was extremely uncomfortable. You're just like staring at this out of focus old woman who's just like opening her mouth and seizing up, and I was like, that's messed up.
Yeah, that
is uncomfortable. And yeah, it's one of the bonuses that we get watching the show that we didn't get in the game. Like I said, you play as Sarah in the opening.
Yes,
but you're following, but you don't, obviously go to school or, go around. It's just all contained to the house, and you don't really get to know her. You just get to know their interaction, and obviously the panic once everything goes to hell. So, but I mean, yeah, once everything went to hell, it was almost 1-for-1. It was crazy.
For sure.
Hell of an opening. And I didn't really know, and I think we talked about this before, I kind of in my head had it that this first episode was going to be this. Like, I thought that was going to be how they were going to end. So I was like, man, 90 minutes, they're really going to dive into this and make this really hurt. And then as they were going, I'm like, no, I don't think they're going to do that. Cause I was really wondering if Ella or anybody was going to be in this. Ellie was going to be in this. how much were we going to go into? And man, yeah, no, they did it perfectly. That 30 minutes, and then let's jump 20 years and introduce Tess. And
I didn't know. I didn't know either. My assumption was that the whole first episode was going to be. I thought the last scene was going to be Joel holding Sarah after, what happened. But then, it kind of just was going and happened, and I pressed pause for a minute. I was like, "Oh shit, there's still 50 minutes left of this." We're gonna actually get into it a little bit. Like you said, I didn't know if we were gonna get introduced to Ellie in this episode. I mean, it does make sense that we did. I mean, they're the main characters. You wanna get them going, but yeah, man, just kind of flew by, and it was long at the same time. You want to know one of those that just doesn't feel like it's as long as it is?
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we talked about Nico Parker, and obviously there's been tons of talk about this over the past year or two, but let's dive a little bit into it. What do you think of Pedro Pascal as Joel? I know there were always kind of like, can he do it? Will he do it? Just what? So what do you, now that we've seen it, we've seen one episode, we know what we're getting out of him as Joel. What do you think, man?
I'm impressed. I will admit it threw me off a little bit at first, just because of the way his voice sounds, and it sounds like Joel, but he's Pedro Pascal. So I'm used to like seeing him elsewhere, and he kind of talks different. Sometimes his normal voice is with an accent. He's clearly doing a voice, but he sounds like Joel, and he is Joel to me. He's got the look and the attitude, and he like delivers the lines kind of the same way. And everything I've seen Pedro Pascal in, I'm always a fan of his. I always had confidence that he could pull this off.
Yeah.
You get people who are going to be like, he's not Joel. Joel needs to be fucking John Hamm or some shit. I don't care. Pedro Pascal was great.
John Hamm doesn't have enough of an edge. I've never seen an edge that he's going to need for this character.
And Pedro Pascal's got that edge. We've seen him. He's been a badass in plenty of things, like
Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, all that stuff.
No, yeah, he's got it. I mean, he had it in this episode.
He's the Mandalorian for Christ's sake.
Yeah, no, he had it. He already showed everything he needed to show that he's got this.
Yeah,
character's in good hands. They've kind of been saying it. I know I'm a terrible person at this. I can't remember the original guy who played him in the game.
Oh, Troy Baker.
Troy Baker's already said that dude's got it.
Yeah,
he's got it. Don't worry about it. So I'm excited to see Troy Baker pop up. I know he pops up later. I think they've cast almost everybody because Ashley Williams is in it too.
Ashley Johnson. Yeah, she has a scene or something.
Ashley Johnson. Who the hell's Ashley Williams? Whatever. Ashley Johnson's in a little bit too, so it's nice to see. And then Merle Dandridge got to reprise her role as Marlene, which is just kind of awesome too, to hear that voice and see her. But it sounds like her. Obviously she looks different, but
yeah, it does sound like Marlene because it is Marlene.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I'm happy they actually did that and let her do it because, I mean, if anybody knows the character, it's her. She's lived the character for, 10 years.
Why do you think they did that for her? Just curious. I mean, no real reason. She obviously did a great job, but, she's done it. Like you said, she knows it. But it's like she's the only one. Everyone else got recast, I guess, in air quotes.
Here's the thing with, Troy Baker, maybe they could have done it for him. I don't know. And I honestly couldn't even tell you too much what that guy looks like. But I don't know if he's like, he might just be a voice actor and maybe not, I don't know. You know what I mean? And
he's a Joker.
As for Ashley Johnson, she's too old. She's like an adult now. She's not a 14-year-old girl. So, I mean, those two are the main ones that you look at and be like, oh, I understand totally why they had to do what they had to do. They had different Ellies in mind years ago when this was going to be a movie. I mean, you get aged out of that role pretty quick.
And I do agree with that. I was kind of, until I was watching this, I finally came to my peace with that, going, yeah, you know what? Okay, some of the people we talked about, they're probably too old to do this. Seeing Bella Ramsey, seeing the age, seeing where we are, I'm like, okay, yeah, you know what? They were right for going the way that they went.
Well, since we brought her up, we talked about Pedro Pascal. What do you think then of Bella Ramsey's performance or introduction as Ellie?
I am still not sold on it.
Okay.
There were moments I can feel it, but I still just struggle to see the character. Obviously, I feel like they're going to go a little bit of a different path with her a little bit. She kind of had some of the. I was a lot more impressed than I thought I was going to be. For whatever reason, I just haven't been sold watching the trailers and watching everything. I definitely saw Ellie in her, but there's just still something about it that I just need to see like full on. Right now, she's still in the beginning where she's just kind of quiet, but not kind of being more of a smartass, but hasn't let any like walls down. So I'm like, see more of what she can do. I'm still not sold on it, but I'm not hating on it. Like she did good. It's just I have weirder expectations or an image in my head, and it's still not hitting that yet. But I'm not doubting that it will at some point. But for something off about it for me still that I'm just not sold on.
Okay, which is a fair answer. Yeah. I understand. I mean, it's hard when you have a preconceived bias, which is what we do. I mean, we played the games. You may imagine the character differently. And I have to admit, I went in with that bias and be like, okay. I mean, she was a good actress and I liked her little, couple episodes in Game of Thrones. I could tell she's a talented young actress, but is she right for Ellie? I don't know. Like I said, it just comes from those preconceived notions. So I kind of tried to let that go.
Yeah.
And be like, let me just put myself watching the show as if I didn't play this game. And is this girl doing a good job so far? And I think in the first episode, she did pretty well. And then even when I bring my biases in, like some of her lines she was delivering, I was like, oh, that sounded like Ellie.
Yeah.
Like that sounded like almost Ellie's voice and like something exactly what Ellie would say. So yeah, I think she's going to honestly probably kill it. Like give her a little time to like, let that, like you said, let that character breathe a little more and expand and we get to know her further. I think, I think their chemistry so far is good. It's the same kind of feel that we had in the game. Like Joel's very uneasy about taking this girl he doesn't know with him and he's against it. And he kind of treats her like crap at first. And that's kind of the place they're in right now in the show.
The walls are up.
Let their relationship develop a little more and we'll probably get more out of it. But I have high hopes. I think, I think she did well.
Yeah. A lot of them, as I was hearing some of those lines come out and hearing Ellie more, I was like, all right. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm seeing it. So it's the potential's there. I'm not doubting that it's not there. Like I said, I'm not sold on it for whatever. There's still something that's just not there. I just need to see more, which I will. And I'm sure by the end, I'll be like Bella Ramsey.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of other people coming in the future, but yeah, I enjoyed everybody. Tess was a different kind of casting.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like once I realized that it was Anna Torv from Fringe fame, as I was telling you about before, I was really excited and I've, no doubts that that's going to be fine. It just from an appearance standpoint, it was the one that was way off.
Yeah, it was. I mean, from the game, definitely. If you've played the game, I don't think there's really a debate with that one. And she does look completely different.
But that's
another one where I'm trying to like not let the game cause me a bias to be like, that doesn't work. That doesn't look like the Tess I know. Like, I don't want to be that guy. So I'm like, okay, if she's good at this, that's, it'll work. It'll run with me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I'm realistically, and I mean, with Neil Druckmann, like you said, being the writer director of the game and also the showrunner writer for this, and obviously have a big hand in who's cast and what they're doing, I think they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, man, they totally did. There was some crazy intense parts with some, I don't know if they even call them zombies. They don't really call them zombies, but they all kind of get nicknames at some point. But yeah, man, some intense stuff going on there and huge sets. And HBO spent a lot of money on this. The performances were just, you couldn't ask for anything more, man. Like,
and I loved the opening scene where they were talking in like 1968 and they started talking about fungus
the
and doing that. That's obviously something that was added for the show. And I think just really diving into a little bit more of the science and what happened. You know, the game was very centralized on the characters. It's a very character driven game. And this one seems like we're going to get an idea of almost the bigger picture, which is kind of super cool. So I'm kind of down for that. And if you watched it and you were like, I don't want to watch zombies, to me, these aren't zombies. This first episode felt like zombies. I really feel now that we did this time jump 20 years, it's more creatures than zombies. Like you don't really get a lot of, and once again, I haven't watched the show, so I don't know. I could be 100% wrong because this first episode felt very zombie-esque. Right. But everything else seems like it's more creature than zombie. So zombies are like, I don't watch zombies. I don't watch fast zombies or whatever.
Well, they're not. Well, like you said, they're not zombies because zombies eat you. Zombies are there to eat your flesh. These aren't eating people. These are biting people because they're insane monsters. They're not. Yeah, zombies.
They're infecting. They're spreading the spores. They're, putting. It wasn't. She wasn't biting them with her teeth. She was using her
tendril
things. Her plant. Basically turning people into plants, as we saw that really gorgeous body on the wall.
Yeah.
That they had set up that was like growing into the wall. And that was just like some annihilation shit of gorgeous brutality. But I just like the idea of diving into the virus a little bit more, diving into some of those other things, which is super cool.
Is HBO, this is like going back a little bit, but is HBO like the kings of the opening theme song and theme videos? Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, Succession, all these shows just have like killer openings. Yeah, I said Succession.
Look, Succession does have a great opening. That theme song is top notch, man.
Yeah, it gets in my head all the time. I don't know, but I don't know, man. I thought it's like, I'm watching a prestige HBO show now. You know what I mean?
Was the theme song, and I want to watch it. Like every other show, I'm like, skip. I'm waiting for that skip box to come up. And HBO shows, I'm just like, I just want to watch it. I just want to see what happened. I was watching the White Lotus one. I was watching like all of them. They just have like that epicness and they're just good. I feel like they have the same people doing them though, because this one even felt like you're following things almost like House of the Dragon and, you're following the blood, and this one you're following plants. And I'm like, I bet you the same person designed this.
They found somebody who works. They're like, you're making this next one too.
Just keep making them for us. This is your job. You make openings.
And nothing beats like that. The Last of Us just has a sound like that you hear, and it's The Last of Us, like that slow, quiet, sad acoustic guitar. And that's what the theme song was like. This is perfect.
Yeah. Well, I loved them being able to tie into the music side of it.
Yeah.
With like Joel. And I mean, I loved seeing like the guitar in his apartment, or in their home with him and Sarah in the beginning, and really tying into that. And then even be able to jump when we did the jump and they're using codes with music and just really kind of tying into that character. I know it was in the game, but it was you had to want to find it. It was like reading journals, and I don't think it was talked about as much, at least for me. I felt like later on in the story, all of a sudden it was like, Joel's this guitar player and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know any of this. I feel like they just tacked it on for future plot. And this one, to see those little moments in there and really fleshing out that character in that way, I thought was really cool. I liked that they tied into that, because that obviously the music is a big deal within the series. So it was really cool to see that start right here in the beginning.
Yeah. And bottom line is, you just kind of touched on it. The show is what the show is going to be good for is fleshing out this world that we could never fit into a video game. Some things you just were never able to do in a video game.
As you play the game for 30 hours.
Well, right. But you know what? 25 of those hours is spent crouching and fucking choking out people.
No, 25 hours is spent watching Joel die.
Right.
Because that's what happens over and over and over and over again. It's you're dead. You're dead. You're dead.
Somebody was like, how come Joel's not crouching? And during the games, he's like crouching 95% of the time. It's like a 55-year-old man shouldn't be able to crouch walk that much. His knees would give out.
It's called Metal Gear Solid 4. When you were Old Man Snake and you would crouch for too long and your back would seize up and you start going too slow. And I was like, I can't play this game.
It's too much.
It's too much. It's too real. It's too real.
Yeah.
It's like when video games make you want to eat. They're just like, oh, you're hungry. You got to make sure to eat something. And then I played that Metal Gear Survive where it was a survival game. And they're like, you got to drink something. And I drink some water and like, oh, you didn't boil the water. So your character's sick. So he was throwing up every 10 minutes. I'm like, screw this game. I'm not playing this game where I have
it's too detailed.
I have to eat and shit and sleep. I'm just like, no. I'm not here for this.
Food.
I'm not
cooking
here.
Food in a video game.
Yeah, right. Cook food. That was part of my problem with Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you want to get these boosts, you got to cook up recipes, but be careful because you might poison yourself.
Oh boy.
So yeah, but yes, no crouching in this. Well, there was a little crouching so far.
We might get some more crouching.
I felt it was really cool at the end, with the way that they're kind of going through with Ellie and figuring out, obviously always teasing that something was different about her, and you can kind of, I think you could guess where they were going a little bit. Plus, I think they've given it away in the trailers beforehand anyway. But
sure,
I think the way that they did that, but Joel coming to her aid, kind of almost getting revenge for his daughter 20 years before, beating the shit out of that dude. I felt like they were taking definitely a little bit of a different direction. I thought it was really cool with having Ellie almost being like
impressed
and really kind of, she was like, I like what's happening right now. I thought that was an interesting, curious to see that's not one of those things that I think is going to be different a little bit.
They might up the aggression of Ellie a little bit earlier on. You might be right about that. It was completely two different reactions between like his real daughter Sarah seeing him kill a lady, being like scared and mouth wide open and oh my god, you killed someone, to Ellie seeing it happen and
almost smiling,
just kind of being like, all right, let's
like,
do
oh
this.
shit,
like I like this guy. Yeah, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, I thought that was done really well, and really curious to see as we're heading into now. How can Boston in 20 years, would like skyscrapers fall down in 20 years? Felt like they were all like deteriorating. That's kind of a jump, right?
Well, you've had undead creatures running amok, so who knows?
Infrastructure is not able to keep things going.
If nobody's been maintaining these buildings for 20 years because everyone's a monster, then maybe buildings are going to fall apart.
Yeah, I guess so. It just was funny.
It's kind of an accelerated thing. Yeah.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, the setting, everything that they set up, this was just outstanding. This was an outstanding show. It was an outstanding first episode. I don't know what the runtime are for all of them, but if they all want to be 90 minutes, I'm cool with that.
Me too. Give me 8 more mini movies. I'm totally going to watch all of them. I feel like we're getting close to getting out of here. I just wanted to make sure I asked you just after one episode. And we'll probably revisit this again because we plan on talking about each and every one of these episodes because we are just crazy and into it. But just after one episode, is this already the best video game adaptation you can remember? Because they're few and far between. I mean, like we said at the beginning of this chat, video game adaptations really don't ever get the respect to be made into something that could actually be looked at as quality to the general public. They're very niche, and for people who are fans of the game, we like the Mortal Kombat games, movies, we like the Street Fighter movie, but people are like, oh, that dumb video game movie, like Resident Evil, whatever. Like, but this is something that I feel like people are going to attach themselves to, and this is the first time this has happened to a video game adaptation. So, long story short, long question, whatever you want to say. Is this already the best video game adaptation to ever be made?
I think so. I do think so. It, like you said, there are a lot of other ones I'm enjoying. I'm trying to think if there's, not necessarily saying it's the best, but I think this is going to be the most mainstream one. I feel like this seems to be on track to be something that people who don't play video games are going to enjoy. Like I said, yeah, I'm okay. I can watch Jean-Claude Van Damme be Colonel Gully fighting Raul Julia as M. Bison. I can watch that every day and be happy. But is that a good movie? No. Was it a good adaptation? No. It was terrible. Jean-Claude Van Damme as anybody in Street Fighter was a terrible idea. But
yeah,
but it is what it is. But anyway, I really do think that the potential is there for it to be. I'm trying to think if there's anything that jumps out as being actually good. Like I've enjoyed some, but actual quality, I think this is going to have them beat for the most part. I mean,
yeah,
there's been moments, but I don't think there's going to be anything like this.
I don't either. I mean, and I'm glad that finally the one they finally wanted to put the most like care into is one of my favorite series ever. Like, how lucky that that it gets to be that. I mean, this is in the same the same calendar year that we had a Uncharted movie with Mark Wahlberg in it. Naughty Dog, same studio. Just compare the two. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I feel like even already after one, it's already like, all right, you set the bar for video game adaptations now. The people watching God of War, the people making God of War, I hope you're watching this show.
Watching Horizon, making
Horizon. I hope you're watching this show because this is how video game adaptations should be done. They're not just little like throwaway, things. The stories are good and can be taken seriously, and there's a lot of good storytelling there. This show is proof of that, and the game is proof of that. So I'm just hoping like this sets the bar for the future. Because right now, even after just one episode, I'm like, best video game adaptation ever made.
Yeah. And the God of War one, the potential's there for it. Horizon, I have no faith in because Netflix will cancel it before it even airs. Right. So, I mean, the fact that that's on Netflix, I mean, there's a high chance I won't even watch it unless it looks like something. But I have no faith in Netflix shows getting actual any kind of care put into it. So it's not even worth me putting any emotional investment. I was one of the people really angry about 1899 getting canceled and never came on here to talk about it.
I know you were.
And made it where it's like in 1899, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't that good. It wasn't like I'm okay with not, it had enough of an ending that I can be like, okay, I was excited for where they were going to go, but I'm cool. But just the fact that they keep canceling their shows without endings. And even in like 2017, they were like, oh, we always got to give our shows endings and we're so pro content, and they're just such a mess. And what's the point? They canceled. I mean, this isn't the first time they've canceled the show. They've done it how many times? I know people are freaking out about Warrior Nun getting canceled without an ending. I mean, they did it like 12 times in the past month. And it's just, man, it's really annoying.
Well, let's just be glad that this show, The Last of Us, is not a Netflix production. How about that?
If it was, it wouldn't look like this.
It would.
This has got that HBO money, as we said. HBO money, HBO love and care.
Feel.
Yeah, they got a lot of good people. I'm excited to sit here and talk with you about each and every episode of this. So that's what we're going to talk about. The Last of Us, up until some other stuff takes our attention away, like Ant-Man.
Yeah. We'll deal with Ant-Man when we get to February.
Yeah, we got plenty of time for that. Plenty of time for that. We'll figure that out later. This has been Last of Us, episode 1, premiere conversation. You don't want to miss any future conversations of us talking about Last of Us and or anything else so make sure you like, subscribe, and follow Raise the Geek on all podcasts. Did you just get my joke? All podcasts and social media services. Hit us up with those likes, those subscribes. You want to join the conversation, you can hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Raise the Geek. You can also shoot us an email, raisethegeek@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
And there it is. There it is. Only a slight delay there. But yes, so I think you good?
That's it, man.
That's all, folks. That's all, folks. So I think that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
And thanks for checking out the show,
where geek is all we speak.